So I struggled for over 4 years as the fat kid, even though I wanted to change. And I just never made any progress. But in the last 2 years, I finally lost over 16 pounds and kept it off. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I got out of that 4 year rut and started actually changing my life. And if you failed on this journey of trying to lose fat before, which I understand how deeply annoying that is, I'm going to show you exactly why that happened in this video if you just watch till the end. So, there's 3 steps that I had to go through to finally lose the fat and stop being a fat ass. And the first one was I had to understand why I was stuck for so long. And there's 2 main reasons for why I just never seemed to make any progress, even though I wanted to lose fat. And so let's get right into it. The first reason for why I was so stuck and never made any progress was I kept looking for the shortcut, the easy way out to lose the fat. And I'll tell you a dumbass story that you might be able to relate to. Around maybe start of 2020 when COVID just happened, I remember sitting there on my computer and I just hated the way I looked. So, of course, I went on to Google and I searched up how to get abs fast, like every single 10-year-old has. And I remember clicking on this one video from this skinny little white kid doing sit-ups to get a pump and showing me like, hey, here's how I got abs in 5 minutes. And I remember getting down on the floor, literally giving myself like back pain trying to do those sit-ups. And I looked in the mirror, that exact mirror over there, and just not seeing any progress. What the hell? Why didn't it work? Why did I get abs in 7 minutes? And I felt so annoyed and deeply just frustrated with myself that moment. And while that might seem like a pretty retarded story that you might relate to, it really does show why I struggled for so long to lose the fat, which is I always looked for that shortcut, the easy way out that would indefinitely make me lose fat forever. But the problem with that approach is that, dude, if it was easy to lose fat, everybody else would already do it. Think about it for a second. This is the brutal truth that took me 4 years to understand, which is if it was easy, everybody else would be able to do it. And so it wouldn't be special. It's because it is difficult that it's so, I said difficult so weirdly there. It's because it is so difficult to do it that it's worth it. And this shit will genuinely save you years. And if you're stuck in the exact same position that I was, you can either spend 6 months procrastinating right now saying, let me find some easy way to lose fat. Or you can just accept the truth and finally start making progress. And I'm going to go more deeper into this later in the video, but for now, you need to understand that if you keep looking for the shortcut, you're never going to make any progress. And so that's the first thing. You need to stop being impatient and understand it's going to hurt. Now, the second reason for why I was fat for so long, and this was so simple that I wish I knew earlier, is I kept on frying my brain with so much cheap pleasure. I remember maybe during the middle of COVID, it was 2022 summer, right? And so, of course, like every hardcore gamer, I had the same exact routine every day. I would wake up at like 12 a.m. 12 p.m. in the afternoon. I'd get out of my bed, literally not even brushing my teeth. With stinky breath, I'd sit down on the chair, load up my laptop, and just play video games for the entire day. I would be watching YouTube while I was playing. I would literally be doing nothing but indulging all day. And yet I was still so lonely. I was still so semi-depressed. I felt miserable, which is weird. Why is it that even though I was doing all that fun stuff every single day, I still felt so unmotivated? I felt so depressed. Literally I wouldn't even be able to study for like 5 minutes a day. I wouldn't be able to exercise at all. I knew I needed to do these things, and yet I felt so miserable. I felt so unmotivated. And I never even knew why that was happening. And the reason, the truth for why this is happening is simply because pleasure now actually just means pain later. See, recently I've been reading this book right here called The Molecule of More. It's basically this book on motivation, basically just how to stop being an unmotivated, depressed little retard. And what I learned from that book right there is that if you desire something, for example, junk food or video games, that doesn't actually mean you're gonna necessarily enjoy it. See, there's two main neurotransmitters in your brain. There's dopamine, which is motivation, and then there's this thing called serotonin. And in brain dead like bro science like terms, dopamine is just motivation. If I put junk food in front of you and you had that desire to have it, that would be dopamine telling you, yes, I want that, I desire that, give it to me. And the other thing that I talked about, which is serotonin, that is the actual pleasure molecule. It's basically what's going to tell you while you're eating the junk food, yes, this tastes good. The problem with shit like video games, junk food, scrolling, going on the hub, is that it feels very satisfying with dopamine, but the thing is, you don't actually get that serotonin response. And so you'll do it, and you'll want to do it, but you don't actually feel enjoyment. In fact, let's just be honest right now. For the past few weeks, if you've been eating junk food, scrolling, playing video games all day, let's be honest, it's been at like a 4 out of 10 enjoyment max. You haven't been enjoying it nearly as much as you did when you started playing video games, when you started eating the junk food, and yet you still feel this compulsion, this dependency to keep doing it. That is dopamine. That is cheap pleasure, and it is ruining your motivation. And what I finally needed to understand, and I'm going to go more in depth about this on the next step, is that pleasure now actually just means pain later. And so even though you can just go and play for 100 days, just keep on playing video games all day, eat junk food, scroll, do nothing fun, productive, do everything that feels fun, you wouldn't even enjoy it because it's not pleasurable. It's just that you're desiring it, and so you feel dependent on doing it. So anyways, that's the second reason. You keep on frying your brain with so much cheap pleasure. And so now that we understand exactly why I was stuck for so long, now I'm going to go over exactly what I did to get unstuck, to finally start making progress. And this is such amazing stuff I wish I knew earlier. So the exact solution that I needed to start making progress is this thing that I like to call the delayed pleasure mindset. So there's this new concept that I learned a few years ago called delayed and instant pleasure. Delayed pleasure is just anything that you do right now that feels difficult. For example, not playing video games, studying or exercising or meditating or reading or just doing something that's good for you. It feels difficult right now, but after you do the thing, you feel enjoyment. You feel incredibly satisfied. And what I needed to understand was that it is actually a good thing that it's hard. Losing fat, being productive, quitting your addictions is difficult, and that is a good thing. Because this is a really good analogy I like to use. Imagine that fat loss is like an in-game store. So let's say you loaded into this new video game world and you see the biomes, you see the new stuff you're about to explore, and in front of you there's this merchant. And that merchant has this cool sword that you want, and let's say it costs 500 diamonds. Now you need to go out into the world. You need to go kill monsters, do the grind, so you can get those diamonds, that currency, and then buy the sword that you want. You can understand that fat loss is a lot like that in-game store. Imagine that the merchant is like the universe, and you want to get fat loss from it. You want to purchase some fat loss. Well, to do that, you need to go and get some currency. But in this case, it's not diamonds or gold or any of that. It is pain. You need to trade in pain so that you can collect the reward of fat loss. And so each time, for example, you do a push-up, or every single time you resist the junk food, you go through a little bit of pain, but then you trade in a little bit of fat loss. And what most people do, which is really annoying, that I used to do, is we'll go into the merchant and we'll trade in fat loss twice. We'll do some painful thing 2 times. And then we'll look at our body, we'll go to the mirror and we're like, what the hell? I didn't even lose any fat. This didn't work. And I'll go right back to playing video games and being a fat ass. What you need to understand is that you don't just trade in pain once or twice or 5 times. This is a lifelong journey. Nobody else is going to talk to you like this shit. Everybody has this weird idea that, oh yeah, if you just diet or do this shit for 2 weeks, then you'll lose the fat and you could go right back to being a fat fuck. But the problem is, let's say, for example, I snap my fingers right now and you lost all the fat. You got jacked. You had the perfect physique. That wouldn't actually be a good thing, because guess what would happen? You'd see your physique, you'd be really proud of it, and then within 3 months, you'd eat your way back to being a fat person. Don't lie to yourself and say, oh, but I'll try and keep it. It's just not how it works. If you don't first become he who can lose the fat, it is actually not a good thing. Imagine, this happens all the time to like lottery winners, right? They'll go and win like $1 bajillion, and then they still have like this broke person mindset where they're like, okay, now I can go and party and buy this yacht and do all that shit, and then they lose all the money just as fast as they got it. What you need to understand is that to lose fat, you can try and find the shortcut, but it wouldn't actually be useful, because you wouldn't become he who can until you'd lose whatever progress you'd make. And because of this, you need to understand that pain is a good thing. Because if you can become he who can actually enjoy pain, if you become he who does the workouts consistently, if you become the person who doesn't eat the junk food like a fat ass, who actually resists it and levels up that skill, then not only will you lose the fat, but you'll keep it. You'll keep it off for your entire life. So you need this new mindset to think, okay, pain is good. This is a lifelong journey. Pain is my friend because it will make sure I keep whatever I get. And so I want to give you some encouragement now, because I might have been flaming you for the past few minutes saying shit like calling you a fat ass, but think about for a second all of your friends, all of the people around you, especially at our age. We've been programmed ever since we were born to just look for pleasure. All these companies aiming these things like YouTube, like TikTok, like junk food, all of this shit at kids means that now we are genuinely the generation that does the least amount of pain, right? Think about it. You've probably been through the least amount of pain. And not only you, but every single person that you know is the softest version of themselves. If you become the person who enjoys pain, just think about that for a second. If you became the person who actually seeks out painful shit, who actually works out and studies and does these productive things, you will beat everybody. You will genuinely be the top 1% by just doing a few good habits that are painful. Think about it. If you just work out every single day for 2 weeks, even if it was just for 10 minutes a day, you've done more exercise than 90% of our generation. Think about that for a second. It is so easy to stand out. And after becoming the valedictorian of my school last year, after losing 15 pounds and honestly making more progress than 90% of people ever will, it is so easy to get ahead. You just need to make pain your friend and delay pleasure. So those are the main things I needed to teach you. But here's the thing. You're not going to take any action on this video. You're going to see me talk about delayed pleasure and be like, oh, that's cool, but you're not actually going to take any progress. You're going to forget about this video in an hour. And so now I'm going to give you 3 specific action steps you can take now so you actually make delayed pleasure a habit and you stop being a fat ass. And these 3 things that I did genuinely made fat loss 10 times easier. And so let's get right into it. The first thing that I've written down right here is you need to set something called an implementation intention. That is a fancy word for saying when you've been doing these things, like for example, play video games, eat junk food, all this shit, you've had the good habits in the back of your mind, haven't you? Every single time you play the video games, in the back of your mind, you know, okay, this is a bad thing. I need to exercise more. But the problem is, because you just tell yourself in vague terms, I need to exercise more, all this shit, right? You don't actually do it. And what I did to solve this problem was really simple. All I did was set something called an implementation intention, which basically means I followed this one formula. I wrote down in the exact terms, I am going to do this habit at this time for this long. So for example, I'm going to exercise for 20 minutes hitting abs in my room from 6:30 to 7 p.m. Basically, this sounds really simple and you're going to think, wait, what the hell? But I promise you, as soon as I just started telling myself when I would do the thing and for how long I do the thing, I actually did it. Go do it right now. Literally take a piece of paper out right now. Write down, I'm going to study for 10 minutes today from 6:30 to 6:40 and watch yourself actually do it. If you just give yourself a little bit more clarity, you will actually stay consistent. And what I finally have realized is that you don't actually lack motivation. You just lack clarity. You just don't know when you're going to fucking do the thing. And so, of course, when the time comes around, you push it off because you didn't tell yourself, I would do it at this time. And so that's the first thing I did. Just start out by just creating the implementation and you will do it at that time. So, that is the first thing. The second mindset I want to give you is you need to create your starter quests. So imagine you load into a new video game. You see the biome around you. You see all the new things you're going to explore. You see the monsters in the far distance. And on the side of your screen, you see this new quest follow-up pop up. It's this quest that you click on and it's like a really simple quest. It's just like, okay, go get your first wooden tools. You go get your wooden tools. It literally takes like 30 seconds. And then you hear that victory sound. That is a small win. Now, the next quest is slightly harder. It's just like, okay, go get your first iron armor. You go do that. The quest takes off and you feel even more energetic. Now it's, okay, defeat the level 5 skeleton. You go and do that. And you get hooked. See, every single good video game starts out by giving you these starter quests, these easy things that it knows you can do, because when you stack up a bunch of small wins, it just makes you feel more motivated. In a weird way, I don't even know why it does that. It's just like some evolutionary shit. And so that sounds like a lot of common sense, but the problem that you've been going through is that every single time you try to lose a fat, you focus your entire energy on just, I want to get straight abs. I want to get jacked. I want to be like the jacked black dude on YouTube. And so, because fat loss is, of course, a time-taking thing, and you focus on just the end result, it feels so demotivating. It's because it's like, imagine you load into the video game, and the first quest is just, okay, beat the level 500 boss. After 4 hours of grinding, you're barely at level 60. And so you feel so demotivated, even though it was the same game, because you weren't rewarded for your small wins. And so just a quick mindset I want to give you. Start small. Stop being a retard by thinking, oh, I'm going to work out for an hour every day. Because you'll never stay consistent. Because you'll work out for an hour a day, and even after a week, you're going to see no progress. And then go right back to where you were. And so create your starter quest. Stop being an impatient idiot to yourself. And this is actually the third point that I have here. Stop asking yourself, how long is it going to take me to lose fat? I remember always being obsessed for some reason with these videos that were going to promise like, oh, how long does it take to lose fat? And the thing that I realized just recently is that if you ask yourself that question, you're going to fail. Because the problem with asking how long is it going to take me is that you don't actually know. Just dead ass. It isn't like some clear thing like, okay, after 3 months, you're going to specifically lose 10 pounds. No, it could take you 2 months. It could take you 4 or even 6. And so the problem with asking yourself that question is that it just makes you become an impatient asshole to yourself, because even after a few weeks of seeing no progress, you're going to get demotivated. And so instead of asking yourself, how long, ask yourself, who do I need to become? Stop focusing on things that you can't control, like what are my genetics? Oh, my bicep won't get any bigger. What the hell? Oh, how long is it gonna take me to lose the fat? Stop just obsessing over this random stuff and instead just ask yourself right now, who do I need to become? I probably need to become somebody who can resist junk food with willpower, somebody who can consistently work out, somebody who actually does good habits even when I don't feel like it. I want you to just think of the person you need to become and then do your best to gradually become that person. That is actually how you lose fat. Nobody else is going to tell you this shit because everybody has some shitty course they want to sell you, but see, I just make these videos because I want you to make progress. And I know how lonely it is to be in this period where you want to make progress, but there just doesn't seem to be anybody else in your life who can help you. And so what I've done after losing this fat is I've created a free Discord server in the description right now. Just go click on that. This is your final action step. Just go join it right now. It's completely free and you can just get free access to me, because if you want somebody who can actually give you advice that you can relate to, then that Discord server is going to be perfect for you. And so go down, click on it, join it, and I'll be there to help you along the way if you want my help. As always, my name's Atharv. See you soon, bro.